Hello students, let us continue with the revision of the unit 1. So in this session, I will be dealing with the concept of control. So control, this is control. It means that we are aiming at reducing the incidence of the diseases. Also, we are aiming at reducing the duration, risk for transmission, the complications, effects of the infection, physical complications, psychological complications. When we are reducing the financial burden to the community, all this concept will come under the disease control. Okay, so disease control, it is nothing but we are reducing many factors or many things which are causing because of a disease. It could be the incidence, duration, risk of transmission, effect of infection, which includes the physical and the psychological complications, and also the financial burden to the community. And in the disease control, the disease agent is there inside the community, but we are reducing the tolerance, or we are reducing the risk to the population, whereby we are improving the health of the persons, and then we are controlling the diseases. That is the concept. Okay, so if you're seeing the malaria control program, see, malaria, it is there, it can be transmitted from the mosquitoes, and we are going to control, and we are controlling it by primarily focusing on the primary prevention activities. So that is the concept of control. So here we can control a disease in many ways. Okay, so it is explained in many terms such as elimination, eradication, monitoring, and surveillance. What is elimination? Elimination means the reduction of transmission is there, and uh, the transmission, we are reducing the transmission to a very low level. We are interrupting in the transmission process, and then we are reducing the transmission to a very low level. Example: measles, polio, leprosy. From a large geographic region or to a small area, we are minimizing the transmission of the diseases. That is elimination. Eradication means the complete termination of a particular disease. That is known as eradication. Through continuous survival and containment, we are eliminating, we are terminating the transmission of infection. That is eradication. So example: smallpox. Next is monitoring. Through monitoring, that is through analyzing the routine measurement aimed at detecting the changes in the environment or health of a status of population, we are uh, analyzing the performance of a particular thing. For example, we can able to control the air pollution, or we can able to control the water pollution by continuous monitoring of the air pollution, or air or the water. Okay, then if we are monitoring the growth of a child, we can able to know that whether the child is having, say example, the kwashiorkor and marasmus diseases. When we are monitoring the growth of a child, we can able to control such type of diseases. That is monitoring. And the last is surveillance. Surveillance means the scrutiny of factors that determine the occurrence. We are scrutinizing the risk factors which are causing the diseases, or which are distributing the disease process. For example, poliomyelitis. Okay, so these are the four terms which will come under the concept of control. Elimination means we are reducing the transmission. Eradication means we are completely terminating the transmission of the disease. Monitoring means we are analyzing the routine activity or the routine measurement so that we can improve the health. And surveillance means we are continuously scrutinizing the factors which are determining the occurrence of a disease. Coming to the next topic, that is body defense, immunity. Okay, so the defense against infection to the normal to the body, it is the normal activity which helps the body to completely eliminate the harmful bacteria which has invaded in the body. So it is a first line of defense mechanism against the infection process. Immunity, it is the first line defense mechanism where our body, it is defending against the invasion of harmful bacteria inside the body. So the immune response, it will be in the form of the antibody production. So whenever a non-specific reaction in the body, it is occurring, whenever a foreign protein or bacteria, when it is entering inside the body, our body will be respond, our body will attempt to protect and defend itself. Okay. So whenever our body is attempting to protect and defend itself through the mechanism of antigen antibody reaction. Antigen, it is the foreign body which has entered the body, and our body in response to that antigen, it will produce a antibody. Okay. So that antigen antibody response, antigen antibody reaction, that is the complex mechanism in our body which is making our body to protect itself from the foreign body invasion. So next is inflammatory process. So what is inflammatory process? Inflammatory process, it is the response or a protective mechanism, protective response, which is eliminating the invading pathogen by allowing the tissues to repair. Okay. And how the tissues are repairing? They will be neutralizing, they will be controlling or eliminating the harmful agent, and then it will prepare the site for repair. Okay. So what is inflammatory process? It is a protective mechanism where our body is eliminating the pathogen and allowing the tissues to repair. And that repairing process, it is happened by the neutralizing, controlling and eliminating the harmful agents from the body. So main three types of immunity are there, that is innate immunity, active immunity and the passive immunity. Innate immunity, it is the natural defense of our body against the infectious agent. Okay. So what is innate immunity? It is the natural defense against the infectious agent. Active immunity, it is acquired naturally. Okay. From the administration of a vaccine or when the person is exposed to infections. Through that, whenever a person is exposed through infections or whenever the person is administered with a vaccine through which the immunity will be improving or arising, that immunity is known as acquired natural immunity. And next is acquired artificial immunity, that is from the vaccines. Next is passive immunity. It is naturally transferred from mother to fetus. Okay, that is passive immunity. So the three types of immunity are innate immunity, active immunity, passive immunity. Innate immunity, it is the natural defense or the natural immunity. Then active immunity, it is either by the, it is occurring naturally either by the exposure to the infections or it is occurring or can be a acquired artificial one when we are getting the vaccines. And the passive immunity, it is naturally transferred from mother to the fetus. Then immunization. So what is immunization? It is the process by which one's immune system is boosted against an infectious agent. Okay. So then the T cells, the B cells and antibodies, they are improved by the immunization. And we are giving this immunization so that the immunological immunity, it will be acquired and the body will has the ability and it will be quickly responding to the encounter of any foreign bodies inside the body. That is immunization. So what is immunization? Immunization, it is the process of boosting up an individual's immune system through the agents, and that can be the T cells, B cells or antibodies. It will be improved by the immunization. So these are the examples of some immunization, some vaccines, that is BCG vaccines protecting against the tuberculosis, which is given at the birth. OPV, oral polio vaccine, at birth 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks we will be giving. Then Hib vaccine, HBV, at the birth 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks. Pentavalent injection, which is a combination of 5 vaccines, that is 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks. Measles, in the 9 months we can give, MMR 15 months, typhoid 2 years and TT 10 plus years, or the 15 years we can able to give. So these are the examples of some vaccines. So moving on to our next concept, which is an important one, that is primary health care. So what is primary health care? It is an essential health care which is based on scientifically, it is sound, it is socially acceptable, and it is practically acceptable by all the individuals and families. It should be acquired through the community with their full participation, and any services which is given to the community at a cost where the people can afford it at the different stages of their development of life, we can call it as primary health care. Okay, so what is primary health care? Primary health care, it is an essential health care services which has to be accessible to all the individuals, family and the community, and that will be obtained, or that can be accepted, or it can be done with the help of the full participation of the community people, okay, or the individuals or the families. And these services, it should be given at a cost where the people can afford it, in a cost where the people can afford it. That is known as primary health care. So again, I will tell you, primary health care, it is an essential health care which is made universally accessible to the individuals, families and communities through their full participation, and at any cost the community and the country can afford. Okay, that is primary health care. What are the elements of primary health care? Education. Education should be given regarding the concerning health problems, how to prevent it and how to control it. Then the other element of primary health care is promotion of food supply and the proper nutrition. Next one, improving the maternal and child health care, and also it includes the family planning services. Another element, it is adequate safe water supply and the basic sanitation. Immunization against the major infectious diseases, prevention and control of local endemic disease, appropriate treatment of common diseases, provision of essential household drugs for the community. These are the elements of primary health care. So education regarding the health problems, promotion of food and nutrition, maternal and child health care, adequate safe water supply and basic sanitation, immunization against the infectious disease, prevention and control of local endemic disease, appropriate treatment for the common diseases, and provision of essential drugs. These are the elements of primary health care. Then coming to the principles of primary health care: equitable distribution, community participation, appropriate health technology, multi-sectorial approach, and focus on prevention. Let us see in detail one by one. Equitable distribution. The health care services should be given to all the people in a particular area or in a community, irrespective of seeing whether they are rich or poor, whether they are living in urban area or rural area, whether they are having the access to health service or not, whether don't see their gender, without seeing anything, when all the services, all the healthcare services are distributed to the family, to the individual family and community, we can call that principle as equitable distribution. Okay, so what is equitable distribution? It is nothing but the healthcare services are shared equally by all the people in a community. That is equitable distribution. Next is community participation. Okay, see, if you want to deliver a healthcare services, one person or all the persons from the healthcare professionals cannot do that. They only cannot do the rendering of healthcare services. They need the support of the individuals, families and the community. And whenever the individual family and the community people, whenever they are participating for the improvement of their health or the development of their health and reducing the diseases, when they are working together in partnership, so that they can able to face the complex problem which is related to the health care, that is known as community participation. So in simple, if you're seeing, people has to participate along with the healthcare professionals so that they can able to achieve the utmost level of health, that is community participation. Next is appropriate health technology. So the appropriate health technology, it is including various issues such as cost. The cost of the health technology, it should be appropriate. It means that it should be affordable to all the persons. Okay, related to the equipment, workers. So whenever the workers are there in correct number, when all the equipments are there to provide the healthcare services, then we can call it as a appropriate health technology. Okay, so the appropriate health technology, it means that there is adequate number of resources, human resources and the materials. Also, if the services they are rendering in an affordable cost, we will call it as appropriate health technology. Next is multi-sectorial approach. Multi-sectorial approach means health can be achieved not only from the health sector, they needs the coordination from the agriculture, irrigation, animal husbandry, educational department, public works, industries, panchayats. Through all, when all the sectors are working together, then only the health can be rendered in a proper way. That is multi-sectorial approach. So the principles, and one more principle is there, that is focus on prevention. It is nothing but primordial prevention and primary prevention are the two concepts where we are focusing so that we can able to prevent the diseases. So the principles, there are 5 principles, mainly 5 principles of primary healthcare, that is equitable distribution, community participation, multi-sectorial approach and the appropriate health technology, and the 5th one, it is focus on prevention. Coming to the components of primary health care. So already I have told you in the elements what are the different components. That is, we are giving the health education, MCH care, maternal and child health care, prevention of illness, promotion of mental health, adequate nutrition, sanitation, provision of drugs and immunization. So these are the various components of primary health care. Then, how much population will be covered by the health centers? The sub-centers in a particular area, they will be covering the population of 5,000 people in the plain area and 3,000 people in a hilly area. Then primary health centers, which is providing the health services, they will be covering a population of 30,000 population in the plain area and 20,000 population in the hilly areas. Community health centers, they will be covering they will be providing the health services to 1,20,000 population in plain area and 80,000 population in the hilly area. Then The last one, it is the role of a nurse in primary health care. So nurses are having different types of roles which we have already discussed. That is, they are the direct healthcare providers. Like by accepting the principles and through the different sectors of the healthcare system, the nurse has to provide the care, and the care will be mainly based on the prevention of diseases and the promotion of health. Then she is a teacher and she is a educator. So she, as a teacher, she will be giving the health education by the way, by the ways in which the people can able to control the diseases or avoid the diseases. She is a supervisor and manager for all the healthcare activities which is delegated to the subordinates. She will be managing the healthcare services which is provided to the people. Then, as a researcher, the nurse will be doing the researches and finding out new sources or new methods so that the healthcare services can be rendered in a easy manner. Also, she is acting as an evaluator by which she will evaluate the services provided to the community and evaluating that whether it is reaching to the population in a way which is meant, and also whether the people is utilizing the primary healthcare services. So these are the role of a nurse in primary healthcare. That is, she is a healthcare provider, a teacher and a educator, supervisor and a manager, evaluator and the researcher. Okay. So in this session, we have saw regarding what is the concept of control of a disease, what is immunization, and what is primary health care. I hope this session was an interesting session, and thank you, students.